Hello my loves, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well, having yourselves a good day or night whenever you're watching this. And if you're new here, hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Ella. I do a lot of lifestyle content, vlogs, and chatty personal finance videos, which is exactly what this video is going to be. I'm actually so excited for today's video. It's been almost 12 months since my last payday routine, and I feel like as soon as I uploaded that, everything in my life changed. Finances changed, how I pay myself, payday, everything is different. Ever since then, I've been itching to do another one. I'll have the last one that I filmed a year ago linked down below because I still think it's a good reference point, and a lot of the stuff we do and the steps that we take are still applicable. I think it's still a good video, but the tools that we use and our account setup is quite different. So I thought I'd go into detail on that and then also get into the business side of things. I actually saw Carter Sullivan here on YouTube. I'll have a link to her channel down below. She's a Canadian creator and she went into detail on like how she tracks and structures her business income. I found it so fascinating. Something I get a lot of questions about. I don't know if people are just like nosy, interested. I'm the same. Like the more details, the better. Or if there's other people that are also self-employed and looking for ways to track their finances. This is just how I do it. I will preface this video by saying I'm not a financial expert in any way, shape or form. I'm literally just a girl. I think as my social medias have grown over the last few years, people see me as like this budgeting financial guru, like financial expert. I'm not that. I've never claimed to be that. I am very careful about what I share and the things that I talk about because I never want to lead anyone astray. I'm literally just sharing how I do things, and it might not be the best way, but it's my way. And I think that's the thing about personal finance. It's personal. Like everyone has a different upbringing, different money values, different goals. There's no overarching best way to do things. In my opinion, it's going to be different person to person depending on who they are, where they've come from, and where they want to go. So take from this video what you want, leave what you don't want. Regardless of how you budget, how you structure things, whether you're using a spreadsheet or just good old fashioned pen and paper, or no matter what your financial situation is, I think having a structured payday routine is essential and is honestly the key to adulthood, honestly. I want to start by talking through our different bank accounts and our bank account setup and structure because this is really the foundation for our payday routine. We have 3 main accounts and we kind of always have. They've changed over the years when we're in the midst of paying for our wedding, saving for a house deposit. Our savings, like a high yield savings or high interest savings account was the main one. That savings account has now been replaced with our offset account because we're not in that season of our life anymore. But the first and probably the most important account for us is our bills account. This has not changed. We have and will always have a bills account, and it's the first account we always pay into every payday. This account is self-sufficient. All of our direct debits for our monthly and quarterly bills are direct debited from this account. We pay into it every single month or every payday, and then the money comes out. Our gas, electricity, water, council rates are all quarterly. So we break down those quarterly rates or like the average quarterly number into a monthly amount. So we're not scrambling at the end of the quarter to pay for it. Gas, we transfer $40 into every month. Electricity, $120. Water, $70. Council rates, $159. You know, our internet is always $89. Our phone bills, $141.42. The monthly amounts are a lot more predictable, whereas the quarterly amounts, we basically just take the average or like one of our highest bills and break it down into a monthly amount. Some quarters, especially in the winter time, it will be a lot lower than what we've been setting aside for. But then in summertime, when we're using the aircon, the electricity a lot more, it will be higher. So it all kind of evens out. And we're now at a point where we have a good buffer in there where we don't have to worry about it. We literally just transfer, what is it? $1,064.83 every month, and the bills take care of themselves. I do also on my Google Calendar have all of our monthly bills on there just so I can see if I need to refer back to anything or if I just want to double check that the direct debit has actually come out. If there's one thing you can take from this video, let it be to have a bills account and let that be the first thing that you pay into every payday. That way you don't have to worry. Your bills are paid for, everything else is for either saving or spending. The second account we have is our offset account, which is basically our savings account. We keep our emergency fund in here, any other kind of savings if we're saving for travel. This year I've set up a bunch of different sinking funds, which I can track on my spreadsheet and see what amount, because it's like one lump sum, what amount is for what. I know some people set up multiple offset accounts. We don't really have that luxury with our home loan. We can only have one at a time. An offset account is basically linked to your home loan. So if you have a mortgage, whatever money is sitting in there, say it's like $50,000, is offsetting $50,000 of interest on your home loan. So it's a good way of saving interest and making your money go that little bit further. Before we had a mortgage, we just had like a regular high interest savings account. Definitely read the fine print because sometimes they have stipulations like you have to deposit X amount of money every single month to get that extra interest. But yeah, that's why we keep our emergency fund, all of our sinking funds. I also keep my tax money in there because I mean, may as well be good for something, right? And then the third account we have is our credit card. I guess technically not an account, but this is what our spending account used to be. We used to just spend everything on our debit card and now we just spend it on a credit card. So obviously we don't keep money in here. We just like rack up a credit card bill, and we pay that off in full at the end of every month. I know credit cards are very like controversial. I think if you already have a good relationship with your money and your spending, I don't see the harm. Obviously, if you feel like your spending habits are a little out of control, or you struggle with impulse spending, or you don't have the best relationship with money, or just still trying to figure it out, I'd maybe steer away. But for us, it's worked out really well. We basically just put everything that we can on the credit card, all of our spending, subscriptions, groceries, petrol, just any kind of day-to-day living costs. If we buy a new piece of furniture or a new piece of technology, put it on the credit card. We really try and put as much as we can on our credit card so we can get the credit card points. We have a platinum card, I think it is, and we get Qantas frequent flyer points for that. When it came to choosing our credit card, there's a ton of information online, almost too much. It's a little bit overwhelming, but really the most important thing for us was not necessarily the annual fee. Like usually the higher the annual fee, more points that you get, but we waited for a good sign up bonus where we got an extra, I think it was like 130,000 Qantas frequent flyer points, which is quite a lot. And also something like $200 cash back if you spend a certain amount in the first couple of months, which we easily did. That then made the higher annual fee worth it because we were getting $200 cash back to basically offset that higher fee. We make sure we pay it off in full every single month. And honestly, if it wasn't for tracking every single dollar we spend, I don't know if I would have one. I think it could be really easy, like too easy to just spend frivolously with a credit card. Because I have my spreadsheet, I can see exactly what we're spending. We're never spending more than we're making. Anything that we pay for on our credit card, I will put straight in the transaction tracker on the spreadsheet. Because we're paying it off in full, the money's not there, like it's been spent. Even if we're technically not paying the credit card bill until the next month or like mid-month, whatever it might be, the money doesn't exist. Like it's not ours to touch, it's for our credit card bill. Yeah, I basically just track it the same as I would normally with a debit card. Whatever I've spent on there is going to leave our account, even if it's not immediately. And with that money that we're spending on our credit card, I keep in our offset account for as long as possible, which is like another benefit of using a credit card. It's staying in our offset account for longer, so making our money work best for us. And that's pretty much it. That's basically the crux of our account setup. Very similar to what we were doing before, but rather than having our spending account with our debit card, we have a credit card, and our offset account is basically our hub. Okay, enough yapping. I've got my laptop pulled up here. We are going to go through my exact payday routine. I'm going to start from the what am I trying to say? From the beginning. Big words. It's still 8 a.m. guys. My brain's waking up. Bear with me. So here is my business spreadsheet. Why do I feel nervous sharing this? I don't know why. Like you guys literally see pretty much all of this anyway. It's taken a lot of trial and error. I do have an accountant, so he pretty much takes care of most things for me. I also have another spreadsheet that I made myself, super basic, where I track everything in maybe a little bit more detail. I don't send my accountant this spreadsheet with all the graphs and the pretty pinks. I have a much more basic spreadsheet that I use with my accountant. But I also like to keep track of things myself, and this is very familiar for me. I've only recently started doing this in the last like couple of months. This is the same spreadsheet that I use from CoPlenty, the yearly 2.0 spreadsheet, which is always linked down below with my discount code if you guys are interested. And this is basically how it looks. So very similar to how I have it set up personally. I have my income, my different income sources. You guys can see exactly the breakdown for January. I always have like a general idea of how much I'm going to get paid, especially with YouTube AdSense and affiliates. They're always paid out the month after. So you have the general total before the new month starts. And then paid partnerships, any collaborations, I'm basically just winging it. There are payment terms, like 30 days, end of month, I think. I actually don't know. Again, I have a manager that takes care of this for me, so I'm a lot more hands-off than I used to be. Some collaborations have longer payment terms, some brands just don't pay or take a really long time to pay. So you really never know what you're gonna get when it comes to paid partnership income. And then I also have miscellaneous just in case there's anything random that trickles through. From a business standpoint, I basically only have two bills, two reoccurring things that I pay for. First is my accountant, which is $279.13 a month. I don't know if this is a good amount. I have nothing to compare this to. I just like him. He does a good job. He answers any questions I have and takes care of a lot of things for me. It's an expense, but like a worthwhile expense. I want to make sure that I'm doing things right. And then internet, which is $89 a month. Then I have expenses. So we have filming expenses. This could be anything from, I'm filming a collaboration with Crystal Fresh, for example. I just filmed one last month with them for an Instagram reel. I had to go buy the product, which is like a pre-made cheese board. And then obviously when you're filming, you can't just have like the cheese. I mean, I guess you could, but for filming purposes, you want to make it look appealing. So I bought the grapes, the chocolate, the nuts, anything that will help me film a video. For some people, if you're like a booktuber, your filming expense might be books because you're talking about books. Social media is very interesting in what can be considered a business expense. It's a very gray line. I basically just ask my accountant anytime. I'm not sure. I personally don't really have a lot of filming expenses. I basically just vlog my life, but it depends on what kind of content you're making. Travel creators will expense hotels, flights, things like that. So it really does vary. And there are some months where this is really high, this category, and then other months like I'm literally just at home. I definitely err on the side of caution when it comes to filming expenses and the things that I consider a business expense or a tax write-off. I don't want to abuse the system. Equipment is usually any like technical equipment. If I need to buy like office furniture, it's mostly just like camera stuff, laptop, phone stuff. Travel, pretty self-explanatory. Food and drink, if I go out of the house, you'll see here I spent $87.70 in January. So anytime I leave the house and go work at a cafe, if I'm meeting with other creators or just like doing work outside the house. Transport, again, self-explanatory. And then personal income is what I pay myself. So you'll see here, it says $11,182, but if we go back to January, you'll see the total here is $13,682. If we move across, I actually put back into the business $2,500. This is just for my own personal record. I like to see exactly what I can pay myself post-tax, like what my actual income is, and then I put it back into the business if it's for like extra super contributions or if I like have things to pay for. I just like to see on my own personal records, especially from an annual lens, how much I'm making. I don't know if I'll continue doing that going forward because it can get a little convoluted. As I said, I only just started tracking on this spreadsheet. Also though, it goes back to like the transparency thing. I remember when I first quit my job and went full-time with my social media, I tried to pay myself very similar to what I made from my part-time job. And then I got a lot of comments saying that I was hiding my income now. Yeah, it's partly transparency, just be like, this is how much I make, what someone can make. Like there is no limits to this if you're self-employed or if you want to do social media. It can be such a lucrative industry and also very volatile industry because you'll see I don't make the same amount every single month. No one really talks about the nitty-gritty numbers when it comes to social media income. I do get some flack for it for being how do I put this, out of touch or unrelatable. The truth is I've always shared exactly how much I make and how much I spend. Just because other creators might choose to keep that private, I don't think I should have to. This is something I'm so proud of, something that I've been working towards for 12 years now, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying it while I can. And it also provides context because what you see from my personal income, this is why I'm able to achieve my financial goals a lot quicker. I'm not going to pretend like I'm living paycheck to paycheck or I'm worried about my income because I'm not right now. And it would be so dishonest to pretend otherwise, that I'm not in the most blessed, fortunate financial position right now. If you want to see me struggling, go back a couple of years. Like there's plenty of content on that. This is just where I'm at right now. And it can change, everything can change, and I'm very well aware of that. So yeah, this is my business setup, how I structure everything. And then we scoot over here, we've got savings. So $2,000 in the super fund, which is a little bit lower than normal. I made a lump sum payment at the end of last year and then kept $2,500 in our business savings. I don't know if anyone else struggles with this. If you're self-employed, paying yourself super, the tax thing is automatic, but super, it's just like, oh, but I could use that money for other things. The temptation is more real. Do you know what I mean? Because it's no one is holding me accountable. Like the ATO tax man, he's going to come for me if I'm not paying my taxes. So I will set money aside for that. But like super, the only one that's coming for me is 65-year-old Ella. She's gonna be like, what were you doing? I'm also a very risk adverse person, so I would so much rather have an extra $2,000 sitting in my business savings account in case I need it, in case I have a slower month. I can still pay myself and can still afford to, you know, pay for my personal expenses, my mortgage, my bills. I don't know if this is the best approach, and I'm trying to get better about it. In the past, I will keep that money in my savings and then pay it into my super every like 3 or 4 months when it's built up to like a certain amount. But I'm trying to get better this year. So $2,000 in super, $2,500 in business savings, and then taxes, we set aside $10,151.02. The great thing about the yearly 2.0 spreadsheet is you can see the breakdown of everything, which is what I love. So I know I've set aside 38.4% for taxes, which is probably higher than I need it to be. I pay my taxes quarterly with my accountant, so I don't really have to worry about it as much. It feels a lot more predictable, a lot more digestible when you're just paying it every quarter versus paying it at the end of the financial year. So I know I'm almost definitely setting aside more money than I probably need to, but I, as I said, like to err on the side of caution. I still have a bit of HECS debt, and we have like the Medicare levy and other expenses. Between 35 to 45% is like my general ballpark figure that I set aside for taxes. And you can see here, we're right on the money. 38.4% went towards taxes, 17% in savings, that was for my super and business savings. I paid myself 43% of the business income, and then 1.4% went towards bills. That's pretty much how I have it set up. Honestly, nothing too crazy. I try and keep it as simple as possible, but this just gives me, it's like a very familiar layout, very familiar setup, but it's like the business side of things before I pay myself personally. Oh, also subscriptions, I forgot about that, but I don't really worry about that too much. They just come out of my debit account. So we've got Meta, which is for Instagram, YouTube Premium, and then you can see here all of my different transactions a lot less than on my personal spreadsheet. So we've got food and drink, accountant, filming expense, which is for the Crystal Fresh campaign, tax. This is just when I've individually set aside money for different payments that have come through. I find if I leave it to the end of the month, I just get really overwhelmed. So I like to do it as the payments come through. So you can see I got paid on the 7th of January, 13th, 15th, 16th, 22nd again. Yeah, that's pretty much how I track things. And then if I were to spend money from my business savings, I've talked about this before, but you basically just do minus 2,000 and then that, and you're left to spend. You can see there. And then I also track it in the savings and debt tracker. So identical to how I have it set up on my personal spreadsheet. Yeah, that's pretty much the crux of it. Nothing too crazy. Now for my actual payday routine. We finally got there after all that yapping. Basically it follows the same structure as when I budget for the month. This year we're really taking a pay yourself first approach. So making sure all of our bills are paid for, utilizing that bills account, paying our mortgage, and then before we even look at our variable expenses, we're paying into our savings and investing. If you're new here, our current financial goals are paying an extra $50,000 extra off our mortgage this year. We did $20,000 last year and we paid off our car loan last year as well. Also continuing to invest as much as we want to chip away at our mortgage, especially while interest rates are so high. I'm also aware it's important to invest, especially while we're still relatively young. I'm definitely not a financial investing expert, but I am aware of compound interest and how investing now, especially at this age in your 20s and 30s, can really impact when you want to retire. That can have such a profound effect on your finances. So while we're paying off our mortgage, we're also trying to invest every single month. I've copied and pasted everything over into my March monthly budget just to give you guys an idea. These are all the same numbers from February. I just don't want to share what we've spent and what we've saved yet. Got to build the suspense for the monthly reset video. But this is exactly how we do it. So Nick gets paid $2,891.20. Whatever's in the left to spend is whatever is sitting in our offset account or previously our debit account that hasn't been allocated anywhere. So basically what we have left to spend on our credit card. And then for my business income, I will just refer to my business spreadsheet and see how much I have left over after taxes basically and my expenses. I'll use my AdSense from this month as an example because I'm just about to get paid that. So I know it's around $3,800 this month. This is exactly what I do when it comes to payday. So track it in my business spreadsheet, $3,800. I'm going to put $1,520 aside for taxes, pretend like it doesn't even exist. We are not touching that money, and that leaves us with $2,280 for my personal income. So now I'll go to my personal spreadsheet and we'll put in $2,280. With this spreadsheet, I have my business income as just one line. If you really wanted to, if you have multiple income streams and you get paid at different times, you can have as many as you want. I just prefer to add it up. So say I get paid another $3,000, we'll do $5,280 and it'll be added in the left to spend. We'll just work off of this because this is like a pretty standard payday and it gets paid every fortnight. We like to work off the yearly 2.0 budget because, well, not only do I like looking at the annual totals, I find that really fascinating, but also because all of our bills and all of our expenses come out every single month. Our subscriptions, our monthly bills, and our mortgage, they're all monthly. Even our quarterly bills, we're setting aside the same amount every month. So we find a monthly budget is best for us. But we follow the same structure every payday. We just see how much we have left to spend once we've been paid. So $5,940.90. Immediately we're paying our bills. I will not track these in the transaction tracker. I mean, you definitely could, but I'm just lazy. I prefer to do it this way. And this is the only section of the spreadsheet that I do this in. Everything else I put in the tracker. So we'll do 40. It will come up with this message. We're just gonna ignore 120, 70, 159. Oh, 89, what is that? $478. Nice round number. That $478 immediately transfer into my bills account. If it's a good payday and I get quite a big paycheck come in, I will transfer the full amount for our bills. I just prefer, as soon as the money's there, like I don't have to worry about it again until next month. So I will do that if it's a higher payday. Bills account, see you later. Can't speak. Subscriptions, I don't really worry about too much. It's $78 for the month. They just come out of our credit card as well. Next point of business is our mortgage. We have a split loan. So we built this house, it's coming up on 2 years ago, nearly. We moved in, which is crazy. I feel like we just got here. During the building process, we had to settle on the land first and pay the mortgage on the land during the building process, which was like 18 months, which is stunning. Having to pay rent and also a mortgage on a block of land that was basically useless was awful. And then we had like bills, because obviously there's still council rates, water, electricity for on-site during the building process. So that was a time, because we built and we had to settle on the land and then draw down during the building process. We have a split loan. We still have a split loan. We haven't refinanced. We're in the process of doing that. So yeah, same interest rate. They're just slightly different amounts because the land was more expensive than the build. Typically when it comes to payday, I will just like choose one and I'll go to the transaction tracker. Return it's the 1st of March. What is it? 208 225. Mortgage, land, and that's paid for. Our yearly goal is an extra $50,000, which works out to be a little less than $4,200 a month. So just to keep in line with that and make sure we're tracking, I'm going to transfer $2,100 for the extra repayment. Hi Donald, how are you? This is my needy dog Mabel Moo, in case you haven't met her. Do you want to say hi to the camera? She's having a break from her sissy. Being a big sister's hard work, isn't it? And then referring back to the left to spend, I'm always looking at this left to spend. We have $1,280.65. We get paid fortnightly, or Nick gets paid fortnightly. I will do this payday routine every single fortnight and just see how much I've been paid within that fortnight. Just having that structure helps keep us on track and lets us check in on our goals and our budget. This spreadsheet though, I will look at every single day. I will track our spending every single day. Whatever we're putting on the credit card, whatever bills we're paying for, I'm tracking every day. Takes like 30 seconds, not even. If I don't look at this for a week, say, I'm spending like my life depends on it. I have nothing to keep me accountable. I don't know what I'm spending my money on, truthfully. It is so easy to just tap that card and be like, oh, it's only $5. Oh, it's only $10. But those $5, $10 purchases add up real fast. So this spreadsheet keeps me accountable in real time. Before we can gallop off into the sunset, I want to actually save some money. I've set up some sinking funds this year. So we have our travel fund, we have a Bali, Canada and US trip, not combined, but we have a Bali trip, then Canada and the US trip coming up this year. So travel funds for that. Home fund, I'm setting aside $250 a month just in case there's anything that pops up we want to do. We have a couple of home projects we want to do at some point this year, so that's for that. Car expenses for things like rego and servicing. I have a category for emergency fund just so I can track if we take any money out for it. So say for example, God forbid, car breaks down. Touch wood, that doesn't happen, but we need to dip into our emergency fund. We'll go minus 2,000, emergency fund, and that money will pop up in our left to spend, and then I can track what we spend that money on. Car broke down, oh no. But we are not manifesting that. ETFs is investing. Maybe I'll talk about this at some point. It's something I'm still actively learning about. It's still something I'm figuring out for our own personal investing journey. I will have a couple of resources linked down below though if you're looking to get started. It's actually a really good book that I've been on and off reading from Tash Invests on Instagram. I love her content and she is way more knowledgeable and well-versed in investing and how to get started, especially from a beginner perspective. I also like that she's like a young female voice, Australian voice as well. They are few and far between, let me tell you. And then we have gift fund for Christmas and birthday gifts. If you want me to go into more detail on our different sinking funds, I can definitely do that in another video. I won't get into it too much in this one because I feel like it's already a long one. But yeah, on payday, I will basically just look at how much we've budgeted, how much we have left. I know on a typical week between groceries, petrol, and then just general spending money, we'll probably spend on average maybe like $300, $400, sometimes more. Like there'll be some weeks where it's $500, $600 if we're having a night out. So we'll go $250 in the home fund, $165 in our car expense sinking fund, and then maybe I'll invest $50 in ETFs just to make sure I'm hitting that monthly goal of investing. Whatever is remaining in left to spend is what we will use for these categories. So our general expenses, groceries, petrol, pets, health, home, etc. I won't actively add it to the transaction tracker because it's not actually coming out of our account yet, but mentally I will know we'll probably spend about $300 of that $815 on groceries, about $150 per week. We'll probably spend about $150 on petrol, and then everything else is just general spending money, which I will add as I spend it. So say it's the next day, oh, I'm going grocery shopping, $148.78 groceries. Where did I go? We went to Woolworths. That's been paid for on my credit card, but it's coming out of the left to spend. I want to make sure that I'm not spending money on my credit card that I don't have. So I'm always referring back to this, and then it'll be tracked on my budget in the actual section. So this is all automatic. You literally do not have to worry about it. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much our payday routine. Honestly, nothing too crazy. I think probably the hardest part is tracking the business income and making sure I'm setting aside enough money for tax. But if you work a normal salary job, then no worries. Do not worry. When it comes to budgeting, it is so much trial and error. I've been doing this with this specific spreadsheet for 3 years now. Before that, I was using every dollar. Before that, I just had like a random spreadsheet that I made. Before that, I just tracked everything in my notes app on my phone. So whatever works for you, whatever your preferred tool is, I just like to see the nitty-gritty numbers. I think there is a lot of information that can be found in these nitty-gritty numbers and a lot of areas of improvement. If it wasn't for this spreadsheet and tracking every single dollar that comes in and out of our account, I don't think we would be in the position we're in right now. I think a big misconception is budgeting and tracking your money is just like moving money around and, you know, $5-10 purchase here and there, like it's not gonna matter, but it really does. And it's so much more than that. Just tracking where your money goes without even setting a budget is so enlightening. Just try it for 1 month. I promise you it's going to be life-changing. It makes you reevaluate every single purchase you make in a good way. It really makes you consider if something is a want versus a need and if it's really bringing you any value into your life, if it's worth making the purchase or if you'd rather achieve your financial goals. But yeah, that is my payday routine, the exact formula I follow every single fortnight, how I manage my business funds, how I pay myself, our different bank accounts set up. I feel like we covered a lot of info in this video. So if you have any specific questions about anything I discussed in this video or anything I didn't discuss, feel free to leave them down below or just leave a comment in general, even if you don't have a queue. I love talking to you guys in the comments. It always makes my day. Give this video a thumbs up as well if you enjoyed. It really helps my channel out. Be sure to follow me over on my TikTok and Instagram as well if you want to see more content from me. I love you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye guys.